You're listening to the Rise Above podcast, the only podcast on the planet with a mission to help you live a free and uncommon life. Here's your host, Greg Smith.
Yes. Welcome. Thanks again for joining me today for the Rise Above podcast. Today is episode number 11, and I am your host, Greg Smith, and I believe if you desire uncommon freedom in business and in life, it starts with creating a champion's mindset from within. So today's episode really has been an episode that I've thought about for a long time, and I really haven't been able to just put it together the way that I think it should be together. So I'm really just going to speak from the heart today, but I want you to know, if you've listened to episode number 1 of my podcast, which is labeled I Am a Procrastinator, that is 100% true. Tonight is Sunday. This episode is to air on Wednesday. I am asking some major favors of my production company to be able to put this ahead of some other things and get it done and get it out. So we'll see how that works, but just know that I am a product of what I preach, and I'm constantly working on myself. And I believe that in order to grow and become a better human, that you're always working on yourself. And some things are just faults that I default to, which one of those things is procrastination. So here I am at 11 o'clock at night on a Sunday, convincing myself that I should do this podcast tomorrow because tomorrow my kids will be in school and I can do it during the day. For the first time ever in my journey as an entrepreneur, my oldest boy is now a kindergartner, so he's gone during the day, which I'll tell you, I have 3 kids, will be absolutely amazing because he is the instigator within our family. He obviously got my genes, and so he's constantly influencing and persuading his little sister to do things that she shouldn't, and it gets him in trouble, it gets her in trouble, and it creates a lot of havoc. So I am potentially going to have somebody be soundproofing my office here in the near future. But for now, here I am, 11 o'clock at night, and I'm just telling myself to do it now. And that episode, I'll tell you, has really become kind of the mascot of the Rise Above podcast. I can't tell you, I was just in Cabela's the other day and I was shopping and I had a gentleman come up to me and he said, Greg Smith, and I didn't know who it was. And he's like, I'm so-and-so, I'll leave his name out of it. I'm like, hey, how you doing? And he proceeds to tell me that he listens to my podcast. And it was interesting because I know him through just another one of my businesses, but he has taken a liking to the podcast. And so it reminded me just how important it is to listen to my own advice, and I'm constantly trying to do that. And as much as I do these episodes, a lot of the times the way I come up with the content is either life experience that I've gone through personally, or it's something that I'm learning as well, or it might be just a phase that I'm going through that I'm trying to change in my own personal life. Now, this episode today is really about changes that I have made along the way within my life. And I was on a Facebook Live and I was asked through an interview the other day live on Facebook about some of these things, basically, about friends. And do you have friends that now, after being an entrepreneur for over 11 years, do you have the same friends that you had before? And ultimately, how do you start to reprogram and become a better person? And it really got me thinking about me personally. Over the years, I have changed who I allow into my life, and ultimately who I allow to speak into my life, influence my life, and ultimately hold a piece of my heart or a piece of my equity within my life. And so, as I heard this question, it really just made me think about this podcast in particular and how it'd be a great idea to really just share a few tips that I've learned along the way. Because when you start to become, I think deep down inside, everybody wants to become more. They want to have more. They want to do more. But in order to have those things, you first have to become more. And when you become, you have to be. And when you start being a different person and you start truly becoming who you really want to become, there will be people that will resent you. And some of those people will be your very best friends. Sometimes it could be your spouse. And it's an unfortunate thing to say, but it's the truth. After 11 years, I've experienced many different things with people that I've mentored and coached and taught. And so, the sad part is people will resent you when you start changing your life, and those people are staying complacent. And I want to let you know, and I want to encourage you and tell you that is okay. It's a very unfortunate thing, but a lot of times as humans, we will stay in comfort out of the fear of what will come forward if we change who we are. And friends are one of those variables that will change. It is a fact. Your friends will change if you choose to become somebody different. And that's not to say that you can't be friends with the people that you were friends with or the people that you are friends with right now. But I can tell you, for me personally, a lot of my friends prior to going down this route of just, one, my faith, Christianity, two, being an entrepreneur, those two things right there will outcast you from a lot of circles. And so I've lost some friends completely, and that's okay. I've also have friends that I just don't talk with on a daily basis or monthly basis. Typically a few of my really great friends from high school, we talk to each other on our birthdays, and that's cool. We genuinely love each other and respect each other. We're just in different places in our lives. And so what I want to get out today is this. If you're sitting, because here's something else that happened over the past 2 weeks. I had a gentleman send me a message, which you can shoot me a message at greg@riseabovepodcast.com, or this particular person is somebody from my past who is friends with me on Facebook, and they reached out and really shared that currently they're trying to become somebody different. And for you, that can mean many different things. In my circles, it typically means that you want to become an entrepreneur, you might want to quit your job, you see more to life than just 9 to 5 or Groundhog Day. And that's just my world. Now, sometimes that may mean that you want to start going to a Bible study or explore a certain faith, or maybe it's that you run in a circle that parties a lot and you want to start going down the route where you want to start becoming healthier and making different choices than going out on the weekend. Or maybe you're trying to get your finances in order, and so you decide that you're not going to spend money on the weekends on some of those different things. And so you might make some of those different changes. And so this particular person came to me saying essentially that he's trying to become more and his friends are holding him back. And he was wanting to know, basically have permission to change friends. And he was asking what he could do. And then I had that question on the podcast just a week or two ago. And I really came up with this. The fastest way that you can change who you are and become more, and I've talked about this in the past. I talked about reading books of dead people. That's one way. I've talked about having a mentor. That's another way. And a few other things. But today, the fastest way is to slowly separate yourself from those friends that might be adding toxicity into your life. And I want to give you permission to know that you can do that. Because far too often we don't make choices because somebody else is counting on us, but misery does love company. And when you start to not want to be miserable in whatever area it is in your life, you'll have people that will crack jokes. You'll have people that will, deliberately try to undermine you. You'll have people that don't even know they're doing it will try to undermine you, and they'll really try to sabotage. It's like I see this all the time when somebody wants to start losing weight. They'll start getting great results, and they work in the corporate office, and somebody's at lunchtime, and then all of a sudden, they're dangling. They're like, "Oh, I'm having a donut today, but I guess you can't have that because you're getting healthy." And they say like these cunning remarks. And I want to tell you right now that it is perfectly fine to just nix that person out of your life.
Are you someone who wants to live life on your own terms? Do you dream of having more time to spend doing the things you love? Then download your copy of The Freedom Formula absolutely free at www.riseabovepodcast.com. What are you waiting for? Go to www.riseabovepodcast.com to get your free copy of The Freedom Formula.
One of the fastest ways that you can truly start thinking different and becoming more is by changing who you surround yourself by. If you will step out and start thinking about the old cliche, birds of a feather flock together. Well, there's also another statistic that shows typically the income of your 5 closest friends, you'll be within 10% of that. So if that goes true for your income, that you're within 10% of that, the same thing typically happens on a faith level. Whatever level of faith your 5 closest friends are, you'll be within about 10%. Whatever level of finances or debt, I'll tell you, back when I was 19, I bought a motorcycle because my best friend bought a motorcycle. And that was one of the dumbest decisions of my life. One, because I almost killed myself 3 different times with crashing it. 2, I bought it because it was $100 a month. Come to find out, I was ignorant of finances at the point, which that's why my next topic for next week is called Everybody Has a Plan for Your Money. And I'll get into that. But I was ignorant with my finances and just uneducated. So I bought the payment. I didn't buy the motorcycle. I bought the payment, the $100 a month. Come to find out, it was a credit card. The way they said it was a credit card with very high interest. So those 2 things alone made it a very bad decision. But the reason I did it was because of who I was hanging around. Okay. So if it's like that with finances, if it's like that with faith, it's also like that with mindset. Whatever the mindset is of your 5 closest friends, you'll be within about 10%. And when you start to crest over that 10% and you start to be 15% just outside of them, or maybe it's a financial level and all of a sudden you get a pay raise and now you're 20% outside of that birds of a feather flock together group. Now all of a sudden you're on the weekend or you're bowling, or which is what I used to do all the time. Maybe you're bowling, or maybe you're going out to the gun range, or whatever it is that you're doing as a social activity. And now all of a sudden your friends expect you to pay for the weekend. And it's because, well, we're not going to get into that, but just understand that you will always be within 10% in all areas of whatever your circle is. Faith, marriage. If you've been married 10 years and all of a sudden you start hanging around, 5 different people that are single, well, might not be the best decision. I can tell you, for me, over the past 11 years, yeah, I've lost friends. I wouldn't say I lost them, but I've changed who those 5 are. And the 5 that I surround myself with, I consider myself the bottom of the 5. Like I'm the bottom one, actually probably pulling their average down. But because of that, I'm striving to become more like them because they set such a good example. And so I want to encourage you to look at the 5 closest people in your life and start to think about, are these people truly encouraging? Are they truly lifting me up? Are they truly supporting what it is that I want to do, or who I want to become? Or should I say who I am becoming? Okay? Because I will tell you, I have experience with mentoring thousands of people at this point, and I have literally seen marriages disrupted, families disrupted, because one spouse decides that they want to become more. They decide that they want to become a better person, or they want to explore faith, or they want to change their finances, and the other spouse wants nothing to do with it. And when one spouse starts to grow and the other one stays complacent, the one starts to resent the other, and then the other one starts to resent the other one. And so what do you end up with? You end up with a divorce. And the same thing happens with your friends. And so this may not sound enticing or exciting. You might say, I love my friends, and that's cool. I love relationships. You've heard that throughout my podcast. I love my friends too. But I can tell you that there's a whole nother level when you're surrounded by people that truly love, support, and are going along the same journey as you in life. All right. And so finding some new friends isn't always the easiest thing. Changing social circles isn't the easiest thing, but a few things that you can do is you can start to go to networking meetings. And there's many, if you look at meetup.com, there's many of those to where you can find people who are into whatever it is that you're into. Maybe you're somebody that's looking to go down a health and wellness journey and you want to surround yourself by other people. I mean, that's one of the reasons that Jenny Craig or Weight Watchers or any of those programs that require weekly accountability are successful and have been around for a long time, is because you start to surround yourself by other people who are on the same journey. And so through osmosis, you become more like the others and you guys all push each other together. So you can start networking, right? If you want to start learning about real estate, you can start getting around. There's actually real estate investment meetings that you can go to where people are learning and teaching. I have a friend right now who just bought his first property. And for the longest time, I was connecting him and he was doing research with the connections that I have that are in that space. So another way is to ask your network who they know that might be going along that journey or that could help you, right? One of the other ways, I think, is, if you're looking at becoming an entrepreneur or you're looking at self-help, is to join a network marketing company. Either if you're going to build a business or not, you find a company that you can go to. You can truly get some world-class training on all areas of life: leadership, personal growth, organization, public speaking. That's one of the best ways you can learn how to public speak, is join a network marketing company. But there's many attributes to that. And so I guess what I'm saying is, find a group of people, find another flock, and be okay knowing that you can start to separate your way out. And if somebody's a true friend, they're going to support and love you no matter what. And they're going to encourage you. And I can tell you that I have so many friends that we're not on the same journey. But man, when we get together, we know how to get together and not skip a beat. But those who are influencing me on a daily basis are completely different than the people who used to influence me 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 years ago. And so I want to encourage you today, start looking at the flock that you run with and really evaluate, is this the flock that's going to help me become more of who I truly want to become? And if it's not, I want to encourage you to take an uncommon leap of faith and surround yourself by those who are like that. So that's my message for today. That's just me speaking from my heart. I can tell you that next week, we are going to talk about money, which nobody wants to talk about. That's another reason most people get divorced, is money, or should I say the lack thereof. I haven't heard too many people getting divorced because they have too much of it. But that aside, I'm going to talk about how everybody has a plan for your money if you don't. And I found myself many years ago without my own plan, and I fell into somebody else's plan with my money, and it cost me dearly. And I want to save you from going through some of those same roadblocks or hiccups or maybe traps that you may not even know that are out there. And so until next time, take care, God bless. And if you have not given me a rating or a review, this is a shameless plug to say, please go back to iTunes and hit me up. Give me however many star review you think I should get. But more importantly, I love getting feedback of what you heard today or in any other episode that really spoke to you, because that's what truly gives me joy and fulfillment, is knowing that I'm changing somebody's mind and truly helping them become more. So until next time, take care.
This is thepodcastfactory.com.